Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Blow Park podcast with myself, Joe, and Joe. Um, we can only, first of all, apologise for, I guess, the delay between our previous podcast and this one, but we have been very busy. Joe was preparing for his final exams, which we will get into very shortly. So there will be a lot more content now being posted that we potentially have less to do. I know essentially now that, well, a lot of the country has a lot less to do than what they had before due to coronavirus, which obviously is very serious, and we are definitely taking it seriously. So we're at home. I've been at home since it's been announced, cancelled all my sort of golf lessons, that sort of thing. But we'll get into that as well in a minute. So, Joe, just first off, how have you been?
Very well, very well. Hope everybody watching is doing okay. I know we've had a few FaceTime calls here and there, so we know that we're equally as, no, I wouldn't say bored. We're finding things to do. I've done plenty, and like we touched on, that these final exams, we'll talk about them later on, I think, but it's all a bit of a weird time at the moment.
Yeah, I mean I know. So certainly this time last year would have been when obviously I was sitting my finals. I was stressed enough as it was just sitting my final exams. Never mind now being sort of messed around by the fact that the coronavirus means that you can't go and do your practicals. And you were saying your normal written exams now are online.
Well, yeah, we've had so much communication from the university and the PJ. I mean, thinking back, I don't know, thinking back 4 months, I was thinking, right, I've only got 2 assignments left. I've got all of those in. And by the way, I had my final assignment back. That passed,
Okay, good.
which is good news. I haven't
Yeah.
told you that. That's an exclusive. So all my assignments are done, passed. All I need to do now is my exams and my couple of practical exams.
Great.
And that my practical exams were meant to be this Wednesday just gone. And obviously, for obvious reasons, they've been cancelled and nobody knows what's happening with those. And that's a compulsory pass to become able to apply for PGA membership.
Absolutely.
And no one really knows what's going on with that. So
As much as I'd love to say that the PGA would turn around and go, right, we'll give you all a pass, I don't think that's going to be the case. And I hate to say it, but I feel like as members, we wouldn't want that either. Because for some people, that essentially is what stops them from gaining their qualification. If they're not able to do those, then they get put back years and years and years.
But nobody, other than them cancelling them, that's all we've heard. So we don't know. From a written exam point of view, obviously they were meant to be in about 4.5, 5 weeks time from now of recording this. And hopefully we're going to upload this on the same day. So it'll all be pretty current to the date we post it. So the first communication was, because of the coronavirus, we are now cancelling your written exam. So obviously that's very sensible. People gathering in a big hall doing exams in the same area for a long time is not sensible and totally against government guidelines now. So they've cancelled those, and there was plans to put them online, but that was when the regulations weren't quite as tough.
Sure.
So a couple of days ago, I had an email from the university. For anyone that doesn't know, the PGA qualification is run through the University of Birmingham. That's where your fees go, and you're affiliated to, although it's a distance learning course. So the communication I had from the university the other day, we might not be in the same boat, but because there's quite a lot of assignment-based stuff, we might well be. I don't know. We're due to find out by next Friday. So the long and the short of it is some people, or the people that are meant or due to be graduating this summer, because of the whole situation, if they can't organise the online exams in time because of these new stricter regulations, they will pick some courses, monitor that student's progression throughout the 3 years or however long you've been doing the course, and pass you depending on how you've done throughout your 3 years.
Jeez,
and scrapping the exams totally.
I feel like a bit ashamed to. I know it's that sort of circumstance, but I feel like it's something that, let's say, for example, like myself, whenever I'd see like another pro or something, you tend to chat about how was your training, and then you chat about the finals. And normally everyone has a story about their practicals or, ours was an absolute bloodbath, as I can describe it. There was, I kid you not, and this is genuine. There was a parent shouting at one of the examiners, wondering why his son didn't pass one of the coaching practicals. He was like, "It's a perfectly good lesson. He did a perfectly good lesson. He teaches me. He's really good," and all this sort of thing. And you're there looking around like, okay, well, the examiners said no, so it's probably a no. And he was getting abusive with him. There was a girl that was crying over in the corner because she'd failed something. And then there was like me, and obviously I took Craig down. Now, you'll know what Craig's like. A lot of the others won't know what Craig's like. But I took Craig down, and Craig the whole time was just going, "This is ridiculous." It was just a bloodbath. And that's not me saying that the practicals are ridiculous by any means, but as in, what you find is a lot of people go into these very unprepared. They've heard people go, "Oh, you'll be fine. Yeah, just go in and do it." Well, the PGA set out a very clear set of criteria you need to be able to do in order to pass these practicals. They make it perfectly clear what you need to do. So I was really lucky. I kind of, for me, passing was really, really important. It was like when I was doing my driving test. It was really important that I got passed and got, finished. And I remember kind of sitting down and looking through the material, and I just learned it, and I'm not the brightest person in the world, but I just sat down, put some hours in, learned it. And that meant that when I turned up to the finals, it was fine. Don't get me wrong, I was really nervous. I remember driving down the morning feeling really sick, and got there and felt even more sick and was just like, this is awful. But essentially I learned the material, managed to deliver it, and it was fine. There was nothing on that day that surprised me. As the person said that was examining, we're not here to catch you out. Like the stories are, we hear things like, "Oh, they're there to catch you out, and they do this, and they catch you out by doing this." They don't, they don't purposely try and fail you. But if you haven't done the work, it becomes really obvious. It's like if you turn up for your driving test. If you've done your lessons and you've been out with your parents and they've taken you out in the car and you've done some driving on the road, 9 times out of 10, you'll turn up and you'll pass. All right, there's the odd freak one where something happens and you need to address it. But, in these tests, you can't really fail unless it's things like you don't bring golf balls. Surely that's really obvious. Or you don't set a target. Again, that's really obvious. And you stand there panicking about these things. But what I made sure, and this is quite a good advice for you if you do end up having to do them, the first thing I did, and this was what I went for like one of the revision courses, and this is what the guy said to me. He said, the first thing you do is you tick off the 4 things you can fail for in the first sentence. So it's, "Hello, I'm Joe. What's your name? What would you like to work on today? What would you like to hit? Okay, that's our intended target."
Yeah.
And then suddenly they go, "Oh, okay. So there's now you physically now cannot fail unless you mess something up in the lesson." Let's say, for example, he's like, "Oh, I'm hitting the ball off the toe," and you go, "Oh, I've changed the grip." Because you identify wrong ball flight. So unless there's something like that, it's not going to happen. And things like the club fitting. You did a lot of club fitting at the time. You'll be fine with that. But there's guys there that are club fitting that don't know whether to do length or lie first. Length affects lie angles. There's people that and literally, I kid you not, the PGA have a sheet that if you follow the sheet during the fitting, you can't go wrong. It tells you to do length then lie angle. So all you need to do is not panic. Look at what's in front of you. You've got loads of time. It's not as bad as what everyone says it is. I think what happens is somebody fails for something silly and doesn't want to tell people they failed for that something silly.
Yeah, yeah.
So they'll then make up, "Oh, the examiner did this, the examiner did that." How many times have you heard in your driving test there's been a comet that flew through the windscreen and that's it, But there we go. That's what you get.
So I think the key thing to take away from that, anyone that's potentially watching that wants to do their PGA or has been through it, I mean, they'll probably have their own stories, but it seems to me, I mean, you're talking about your finals there. The only experience I've had is my level 2 practical exams, and that was stressy because
level 2 is stressful.
If you think about it logically, and the steps you need to take, it doesn't need to be complicated. I think that's what a lot of people think that might be the case. It doesn't need to be complicated. As long as you're following the correct steps, like you said, ask the right questions, find out exactly what you need to ask. That's going to be important for the lesson. Identify a target, work on what you need to work on, make sure it's clear, concise. Bosh, that's it. That's all it seems to me.
I think the main scary bit for me about level 2 was when you turn up, you've not heard that sort of language before. Because they give you those 2 booklets that are 150 pages each, and you open up the document and you go, oh, no, I'm not looking through that. Or you skim through it. And then they turn up and they go, right, I want you to tell me how to hit a pitch shot, please. And everyone goes, yeah, sure. So I'm just going to grip down the club slightly and I'm going to open my feet and I'm going to go for, a bit of a 3/4 swing. And the guy goes, okay, so you got 0 points there.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I've just described how I'd hit a pitch. And then suddenly then you've got to be able to explain why you do those steps. And I always went, they had, was it 10 balls or something laid down and each one was a pre-swing or an in-swing principle. And I'm sure that's right. I'm sure there's pre-swing.
I didn't do it that way, but I suppose, yeah, you could do it that way.
In-swing, is that finals? I think in-swing might be finals, but essentially they want you to talk you through the steps of why you would do each step and what that affects. So it affects certain parts, whether it be aim, path, all those sort of things, isn't it? It goes back to impact factors, right? So, realistically, a lot of people turn up to this and they don't know what impact factors are to begin with, which is going to make it really difficult because now you're trying to relate something back to impact factors. So if you don't know what the impact factors are, you're going to find it really difficult trying to relate pre-swing or in-swing principles back to impact. But as soon as you learn impact factors, which in fairness, they do cover a little bit on not level 1, year 1, don't they? I think you do a little bit on impact factors.
Yeah. Impact factors are the first thing you learn in your coaching assignments.
Yeah, so you've got impact factors. So then obviously you start looking at pre-swing principles, which is like what they call hold and stance and posture, those sorts of things. So you're looking at the kind of initial setup. And then you've got in-swing, which obviously is the actual movements during the swing. So you can look at lever system, all those sorts of things, length of arc, width of arc. So you've got all these things that you can look at and then you try and link back. So basically what happens is in level 2 is you're now first introduced to a pre-swing principle. And nobody at that point knows what a pre-swing principle is. So I remember desperately that night being sat down going, right, I need to learn about all these pre-swing principles and then actually apply it to shots in the model they want you to apply it to. And that's the difference as well between level 2 and finals. Level 2, you coach to a model. So the PGA goes, right, this is how you play that shot. This is how you do this. It basically just shows that you can learn and apply stuff and that you understand it. What happens then at finals is you can then control how you want to hit that shot. So let's say a flop shot. Some people will aim left. Some people will put the handle down. So for those of you who don't know, face plane tilt is going to correct where the loft is pointing. So handle goes down, loft sort of the angle moves. Face now starts to aim left essentially. You can start to counteract the opening of the face by dropping the hand. So you've got that kind of knowledge then, and then you apply it. As long as you don't get that mixed match, as long as you don't go, I'll put the handle down and then I'm going to have the face square at address and then I drop the handle. Well, they're going to go, well, if you don't adjust your aim, it's going to go left. And then that's then how you would start to fail, unless you then obviously corrected that. But no, I think it's one of those things. I think finals are they're a really tough time, really tough. The only good thing I will say, I think the pressure they put you under really does help you to learn it and maintain it.
Definitely, yeah.
One of the things I found is like I still have a lot of that information. And in fairness, some of the coaching I do still bases around, well, in fairness, all the coaching I do bases around the idea of it. It's not necessarily the shots that we learned in level 2, although part of it I do find really useful. Certainly if you're teaching somebody beginner into a pitch shot, you go, look, try this technique. And 9 times out of 10, it works really quickly. And you go, right, well, now you add your own spin to it. Let's say, for example, they don't have a conventional grip. You know that during the swing, it's not going to be conventional, but it's an interesting base model. It does work as a base model. Okay, there might be different techniques you can use that, yes, some people can argue are more effective and whatever. But I think for your beginner or your person that can't actually hit a pitch shot, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely have all that info.
For anyone thinking about doing their PGA and wanting to have a career in golf, well, actually, no, let's spin it back. Anyone that wants a career in golf, whether it be coaching, fitting, retail, management even, you've got to do your PGA. If you're from England, the UK, do the PGA Britain and Ireland. It's the hardest from what I can understand, and the strongest qualification. So if that's what you want to do it. obviously I haven't finished yet. Joe has, but hopefully there'll be some sort of solution that helps me finish
Absolutely.
on
Yeah, fingers
time, because
crossed, mate. Absolutely.
it has been a long, well, actually for me, because I've split it up, it seems like 7 years,
I
which
know.
actually it has been about 7 years
Do you know what?
since.
I'm so pleased you've stuck this one out, because there are so many, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't get. You know, it's almost like when you go into, you watch those sort of, is it Who Dares Wins? That is it, the Ann Middleton thing. Who Dares Wins? Is that it? That's right, isn't it? Ant Middleton's TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when they're doing that, it's like everyone around you is always dropping out. And it's exactly the same
yeah,
with this PGA thing. I think a lot of people assume because they can play golf, they can become a PGA pro. And it's not the case. You don't just
no, it's
you
so
don't
far
just do
from the
your
case.
playing ability and go, great, I'm now PGA pro. It really there is learning behind it. And I think that's great because it makes you a better professional. It makes you really employable. Um, Whereas I feel like, a lot of people that just play sports perhaps aren't that academic. I mean, I'm making a bit of a sort of throw out there. I mean, I wasn't that academic, but this made me have to go, right, okay, I actually need to do some work here. If I want to do this, I have to do some work.
Yeah,
But then it's great because once you are, you're part of that group and you remember.
yeah, and you can start to, because that's not the end. That's not the end by
No.
any means. Well, for some people it is. Some people think, right, okay, we've got the PGA, I'm just going to crack on, do this and this and this. I don't want to demean it, but just now you've got your PGA, just crack on and do like the normal things. But a lot of people will then start to read more, start to go and further the qualification and say, right, the PGA is, although it's not easy, that's your baseline, and then you start building up the ladder
Yeah,
of starting to potentially specialize in stuff. And that's actually something that I haven't yet decided on what I want to do.
I wouldn't
Because
expect to know.
although I enjoy the coaching custom fitting side, is it something I want to do full time? Might be. I might change my mind, but I don't know. I don't know.
No, I think just play it by ear. The thing is, and I mean, what you also get is once you become qualified, you can kind of go off and do what you want. So as part of the criteria is that 30 hours a week in the shop.
Yeah,
Once qualified, you don't have to do that anymore. So if you then suddenly have a real passion for coaching, you can go for a coaching only role, or you can go into custom fitting and work on tour vans. And there's so many things that you can do within the industry. It's just then finding what you enjoy and sticking with it. And I think that's one of the real benefits. I was having this conversation with a friend recently. He works in sort of IT and things, doing really, really well. And we're sort of talking about job satisfaction and, how much do you enjoy it and what do you get from it? I know, okay, he's paid a lot more than what I am, but I love going out and standing and doing Beat the Pro for a day.
yeah,
You stood out on a tee box. Half the time it's sunny because it's in the summer. You have a chat to a load of groups that are coming through, make sure they're having a good day. Then you try and beat them doing Beat the Pro, and then there's a bit of banter flying about. It's great. You can have a good laugh with it. Whereas on a summer's day, he sat in an office.
yeah,
So there's that kind of contrast to it. Don't get me wrong, it's a bit bleak during the winter. The first winter this year at a golf club, and I mean it was quiet. It doesn't help as well. Our course, unfortunately, does get quite wet. Suddenly the course is closed, and it's like, well, what can you do when you're in a shop and the course is shut? That's not quite the same. I was quite lucky we got a studio attached to the pro shop, which helped.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we could do. Well, there's endless things we can do with this podcast. Today's been kind of like a where are we at the moment and how about the PGA essentially. So I think that probably have to go in the title for this one.
Well, I think we'll title this saying, "Will I ever qualify?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's
Because it's absolutely strange. Because I going back to my situation here is it's really, really weird because you can look at it from 2 angles, and I can see it from both angles. I can see it from the angle of, we're attached to the University of Birmingham. We pay fees to the University of Birmingham and the PGA. I don't know exactly how it works, to be fair. It's some sort of affiliation. But I can see why the people that are due to graduate, like myself this summer, or near enough now, they're thinking about they're talking about this lockdown lasting until when my exam results are due to be released.
June, isn't it? They're saying it. Is it June?
Yeah, and I think that's when my results are due to be coming back to me. So
what we now
I can see it from a financial point of view for them to keep all of us on another 6, 8, 9 months.
Yeah.
To complete these exams.
Yeah.
But equally, although a foundation degree, is my foundation degree now worth less?
No.
If they were to say, right, okay, well, speaking from a personal point of view, there'll be hopefully a high percentage, because they're not that hard, as long as you, again, like we were talking about with the practicals, the assignments, if you do what you're asked and put enough time into it, you should pass every single assignment that you get. And that's exactly what, luckily this year, now I've got my final one back, I haven't failed any across the 3 years. And hopefully, what I'm hoping for, PJ, if you're listening, can you take this route, please? Exams, null and void them. Don't waste your time. Don't waste any more money on us. Anyone that's not failed an assignment, pass the level 2, just give us membership. That'd be really nice.
In fairness, that's quite an interesting point. If you've not failed an assignment during the way through, because there's a lot of people that fail an assignment on the way through. I mean, I failed my first assignment in the first year. It's the only thing I failed, luckily, throughout the entire process, because I wrote a report and I over-analysed and over-referenced.
Yeah.
I remember having... The only problem is I came from doing a BSc honours degree into doing a PGA first year, first assignment foundation. And I put 21 references into this report.
On a selling customer service assignment.
Selling a customer service point, yeah. And then she said, no, you just didn't give them a £400 experience. Well, I remember it very well. And the person came in to buy a jacket that was less than £100. And I said at the time, the only one we had was a Galvin Green that was this jacket, and it was like 300-400 quid. I went, oh no, it's far too expensive. I'll come back, and I think we ordered him something else in. But obviously during the assignment, I said, no, he left and we missed a sale, unfortunately, because we didn't stock any lower brands. It wasn't strictly true, but she said, no, he would have bought it if you'd offered him the £400 experience. But that's like me saying, I went into a Ferrari garage and I had £20,000 on me. And they said, the cheapest one they do is 305. I said, oh, no, thank you. And then the guy gets fired because they didn't offer me a £300,000 experience.
Yeah.
Mental.
There you go.
That was one of those things, and I failed it, but I think I got high. I think I got 70% in the next assignment that bumped it up, so it passed, which was fine. But yeah, there's things like that, odd things.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I've got much more to say on that subject, to be fair.
So what I was going to say is, so we are now day 6.
Yeah.
I think we're day 6 lockdown. So day 6. I hope this will go up tonight is the aim. I'm going to get edited and get it uploaded. It just depends on how quick the internet is as to what time this uploads. I think what we said we're going to try and do is we're going to try and do some more of these, definitely, aren't we? We're going to try and get some guests on, because I know a lot of people now aren't going to be very busy. I know a lot of people's lives have stopped. So we'll get a few guests on, get them to have a chat. Which I think would be really good. I think it's a great time actually for us to do this, and might add a bit of structure to our days as well. Because I mean, you are literally stuck at the bar, at the golf club.
Yeah, I think that's quite clear I think it's quite clear now. Towards the beginning of the podcast, we were trying to kind of keep it on the down low. I don't entirely know why we were trying to keep it on down low.
You were saying you don't want loads of groupies coming up to your pro shop and stood outside because. Apparently
because of all the fans?
Yeah, he's had it before. Yeah, he had it at the gym once. He had all these girls come up to him and he got embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah. Have you noticed actually, talking about the gym, I'm going for a sponsorship deal today.
Are you?
Yeah,
Oh, what's that? Gym Dolphin.
yeah, that's it. No, I'm
Well,
not.
Team Bunker, mate.
Yeah, Team Bunker. Well, maybe we can do. You've got speed sticks, haven't
No,
you? Maybe you can do uh, increase your club head speed from home video.
don't have any speed sticks.
Oh, you're gonna have to edit this out, aren't you? Because they gave you some, didn't they?
No.
Oh well, we'll just have to edit this bit out.
No, in
Um,
fairness, in my defence, I did give them to a junior.
oh, that's all right then.
So it's not that bad. It was something that I started using, thought they were great, and then I was in the shop a lot and thought, I'm not making the most of these. And then a junior came in and went, I want to gain some club head speed. And I teach him, and I thought, brilliant, I'll give it to you.
Fair.
So that's what happened.
Cool. Oh well, bang goes that idea for his club head speed video then.
But we
But
can definitely do some tips. We can definitely chat about tips on how to practice indoor. Maybe that'll be tomorrow's podcast. Will be ways to practice, and also the awful ways of practicing that I've currently seen on Instagram.
I'm interested to. I'm interested to hear that.
We just see people just doing rubbish in the garden, don't you? And you go, well, that's not useful.
Yeah, yeah. I think people are just bored, aren't they?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
understandably. It was nice when that hour went. Was it go forward? It went forward, didn't it?
That was today.
That was yes, yes, mate. It's currently
I didn't even know.
it's currently 1:45.
So, what time's our body clock saying it is?
1:45.
Ah,
Oh no,
so
we've
that's
missed
yeah.
out.
Because I did know that because we had it in the shop diary and we were going to open up this time and close up at this time now because the clock's changed.
We've
Well,
missed
bang goes that.
an hour of lockdown.
Mm.
An hour shorter, so it's 20 days and 23 hours currently. Not that I'm counting.
Oh, it's going to be a tough few weeks now. Although I have started to. Anyone in the comments section, by the way, if anyone's got any good books to read,
I've got some great books.
Oh, Lovery, tell me about some books.
So I've been reading. Might be able to find it. Hang on, let me go and grab it.
Hold on, I'll have to fill some time here. I don't know how long it's going to be, but anyway, I'll fill the time. Let's talk about.
I'm back. No one's interested.
Oh, he's back. Oh, good. I didn't have a chance to bore you.
So, The Lost Art of Putting.
Oh.
Written by, or introducing the 6 putting performance principles by Gary Nicol and Carl Morris, with a forward from the 1999 Open champion.
The what? What year?
1999 Open champion.
1999 Open champion. I'm not very good with this sort of thing, but I'm going to go with Faldo.
Paul Lawrie.
Oh.
And then it just asks simple questions like, does the stroke create the putt or does the putt create the stroke?
Go again.
Does the stroke create the putt or does the putt create the stroke?
The putt creates the stroke.
Well, I don't know. That's the argument, isn't it? But this has been really good. A couple of key things. I mean, I've been posting a lot on my Facebook page. If any of you don't follow that, Joe Lovery Golf Coaching on Facebook, do make sure you give it a like for daily content and updates. But it's chatting about things like hole sizes. So you can see on there. So you've got your 3 feet past makes the hole that slim. 2 feet past, that slim. 1 foot past allows it to use the entire hole. You look very confused there, Joe. That could be a thumbnail.
No, I couldn't quite see it. I need to shave. I'll shave for the next podcast. I promise everybody.
It tells you things like, this was really interesting. Let me see if I can find this. There's only a certain number of players. Here we go. 8 players have recorded just 18 putts in a single round. Okay. What do you think their total footage hold was? Okay, no, let's start with, okay, so from 18 feet, okay, what do you reckon? Ken Duke, for example. So Ken Duke was, when was Ken Duke? The 2009 WGC CA Championship, 3rd round. Okay, he recorded 18 putts. What do you think his longest putt hold was?
16 feet.
6.5 foot.
So he kept missing greens or stiffing it.
So 6.5 foot. How many shots do you think he held from off the green?
I'm going to go with 6.
4. 4 shots hold from off the green. Total footage hold. What do you reckon?
Longest putt was. Hold on. Hold the phone. 4. We go with about 71 feet.
43. So basically, what happened was it breaks it down. This is the great thing about this. It breaks it down to what he did. So from inside 3 feet, he had 7 attempts and hold 7. From 3 to 5 feet, he had 6 attempts and hold 6. From 5 to 7 feet, he had 1 attempt and hold 1. From 7 to 10 feet, he had 2 attempts and hold none. From 10 to 15 feet, he had 1 and none. And then he missed 1 from outside 25 feet. And that's it. He hit 9 out of 14 fairways, driving distance of 275 average, and greens in regulation 7 out of 18. But then you hear some incredible stats, and this one was mental. Absolutely mental. It's like the guys who hold the longest amount of footage, basically. And it comes through things like, so it's your PGA Tour records, fewest putts at a 72-hole tournament. So let's go with David Frost. Total putts for the 4-round tournament, 92, which is pretty impressive.
Signal dropped out there.
Oh, sorry. So for the, here we go with David Frost. He held 92 putts. So he had 92 putts for the 4-round tournament he played in 2005, right? So over 4 rounds, he held 367 feet. Just, 92 putts for 4 rounds. Mental. And then you've got things like who, for example, highest footage of hole putts during a season. So you get like best rounds. Ricky Fowler was one that stood out to me, 215 feet in 2016 in a round of golf. Mental. But yeah, it just tells you some really cool stuff like that, some cool stats, but also then allows you to put your putting performance into realistic measures. One of the first things it tells you is your sort of conversion percentages. So like from 10 feet, what do you reckon the average is on the PGA Tour?
I'm going to go with percentage from 10 feet.
10 feet.
I'm going to go with 30%.
Close, 38. So it's amazing.
That's annoying because I was about to say 40.
So it's amazing how you kind of have that realization that these guys are world class. Like they are the best of the best, putting on the best greens, and they're only holding 38% from 10 feet. Yet everyone we hear that comes in the pro shop hits the ball to 10 feet, misses a load of putts, and goes, "Oh, I can't putt."
Yeah.
Really interesting that. So that's a really good book. If any of you have read that or want to read something, read it. I must admit, it's not the easiest read. It's quite factual. The other ones I was reading by Bob Rotella, they're a little bit easier to read. Bit more humor in them. This is a bit more like, it's like reading a TrackMan booklet. It's going to give you all the information you need, but you're going to sit and crunch through numbers, and that's kind of what that's doing. But it's good.
What you're interested in. If you're a numbers guy, it sounds like it's the right thing for you.
It's good, yeah. And I mean, in fairness, it really makes you aware of a few things that I'm quite lucky. I've done quite a lot of research on it and got a bit of Bob's stuff as well. So you can kind of compare the two and see different methods and how they coach and stuff. So that's really interesting. I can hear Will.
Delivery out the front of the.
I can hear Will shouting.
Clubhouse.
Oh my God.
Huh?
I can hear Will shouting.
Oh, can you hear him?
Yeah.
He's playing Call of Duty. Living two assistant pros living together on lockdown is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely, absolute recipe for disaster. I agree. Well, what are we thinking? We'll leave today here. Tomorrow we'll chat about practicing at home.
Yes. Yeah, we'll chat about practicing at home, and then I'm thinking, just for anyone interested, what we're doing in our private lives is we are going to have a mass group chat with just a few of us this evening, and Lovery is going to run a quiz.
I'm going to run a quiz.
Now, I'd quite like to do like that, something like that on this channel.
Well,
whether it be a quiz or
why don't we film tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be pretty. I think let's film it. Let's see how it goes. If it's awful, we won't upload it.
No, what we'll do is we'll get them all to join the chat on Zoom.
Well, we're going to use that new hosting app. There's that new house party app.
For the ASMR people out there, have you watched ASMR? ASMR.
Oh God, I've got Lloyd's Bank.
Like this. Do you reckon I've got a career in ASMR?
Why are we being like this now? What's going on?
I'm asking you about ASMR. Do you reckon I've got a career in it?
Maybe.
Maybe we could change that. No, I'll do my own channel for ASMR.
What?
Anyone wants more of that? If you're that way inclined, hit me up. What? I have no idea what it is. Look it up and tell me what you think in the next podcast, because it's quite weird. I can see you are
whispering in my ear. It's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. Some people hate it.
Like, what are you doing? Stop it.
I wouldn't. That's why I don't know anything about it. But I reckon I could be a producer of ASMR. But it's mainly.
What does it stand for?
Sorry for the headphone users there if I'm shouting there. No, I think it's quite a lot of girls like whispering in the microphone.
This is taking a very strange diversion, Joe.
Yeah, ASMR. Look it up. It's all a bit weird, but people like it apparently. And that's not me like trying to find out your opinion because I like it. That's not me saying just asking for a mate. I genuinely haven't got a clue what it is all about.
No, fair enough. We'll do.
Anyway, right? We'll record that tonight.
Yes,
and
let's do that. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, there might be quite a lot of editing though.
I'll be fine. Well, for example, this podcast there, I'm just going to let this run. I'm going to let it run as it is.
Yeah, and I think we've got to do that for the next couple. And then we'll try and do like these quizzes. We'll try and do loads of things. If anyone's got any suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, cool.
Quizzes. What I really like a format, and we can, if anyone is a fan of Jackmate, he runs a podcast called the Happy Hour Podcast, and it's not golf related. It's just about anything. But they've done recently it's really good. One of the regular features on the show basically reads out what's the most recent one they've done. Why have I gone blank? They've done urban legends, all that sort of stuff, and conspiracy theories.
I'd love to do some conspiracy theories.
We'll have to do that.
If I could say it. Conspiracy theories. There we go.
Conspiracy theories I find really interesting. If anyone wants to hear that.
Can we also do a chat about this new Mini?
What?
You're the new mini GP. Can we do a chat about that?
Yeah, well, I
If
think
anyone's
I think
interested in that,
start
comment
doing
below.
conspiracy. We start doing. Maybe we should start another channel for
No, just do it on this one.
cars and shit. What?
Below par goes off piste, goes deep in the rough and finds a mini.
All right. Well, if anyone wants to listen to conspiracy theories, cars, because we
Right.
can do that. We can do that.
Two of the most uneducated people in this sector chatting about it, going, "No, I think it's true, mate."
No, I've listened to a lot of podcasts,
Okay.
and I'm pretty clued up on it now.
All right. Well, we'll look into it.
But look, anyway, actually, the reason I got onto that is because I was talking about the theory and like the format behind that podcast. So what they would do is they'd get one person to read out this conspiracy theory, and ideally we need a guest for this sort of thing because we've got a few opinions, and basically you rate it on how likely you think it is to be true, or they did these urban legends that are meant to be quite scary. Rating it on likelihood and scariness.
Let's do it. I think it sounds good.
So there could be quite some interesting ones on there. I mean, they're all over the internet, so we won't struggle to find it.
No, let's do it. I'm keen.
Cool. And we'll find a way to link it back to golf.
Yeah. Great.
So yeah, that is pretty much it.
All right. Well, I think it's been another successful episode.
I think so. A little bit random, bit educational towards the beginning, and then turned into total random chat. But hopefully people enjoyed it. Let us know down below, guys, what you think we should be chatting about next. I know we've got a couple of ideas in the pipeline, like we just said there. But like we always say, like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you all very, very soon.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.
Bye.